We have long gradual climbs. Last weekend in Oslo, some steeper, more aggressive climbs.
Well, there's the start list. Shona Usova of Russia will get us underway. Britain's Emma Fowler going number 4. Further down the list, watch out for Michela Ponza, having a great season for Italy in the top 10 of the World Cup ranking. She starts number 10. Ulok Slettermark from Nuuk in Greenland, an IT specialist, works for 8 months, earns enough to spend 4 months on the biathlon tour. And it's good to see her back in the starting lineup. Martina Glagau going number 30, one of the later favourites to set off, actually, Mike. It's going to be interesting to see whether Martina can improve on her sprint performances. That's not where she's been strongest so far this year. Sandrine Bailly already won. Livgreta Poiré goes 45. What chance has she got?
Well, I think she's coming back into form. We saw her moving up nicely in the pursuit last to have her best placing, so she was 7th. And looking there, 56, Adele Turner. She broke her rifle stock last week. Now, that is a problem for a biathlete. You get used to your rifle. She's put that behind her. Hopefully that won't affect Adele today.
Rachel Steer, the best of the Americans, goes off number 69, just behind Katja Beer of Germany, who doesn't get a very good start. She needs to finish in the top 4 of the Germans to secure a place in the World Championships later on this season.
Denkinger, not being favoured by the coaches down in Group 3, hasn't shown the true form that we know she has, and that's why she's starting so far back on the start list today.
And Christelle Gros, known as Coco, going off number 89. And you will have noticed that most of the favourites have chosen to go early. Who out of the later starters, Mike, can keep this race alive? Because it did die a little yesterday, apart from the fact that Anderson had a reasonably late start.
Well, as you say, I think Christelle...
And in Sweden for what is the last round of the Biathlon World Cups before the athletes get a well-deserved break. It's been a very tough couple of weeks. And the women still have 3 races to go before they can think about heading home. And they've got some tough conditions here in Sweden, Mike. The wind has picked up and it's changing from side to side. The tracks are a little soft, but hopefully with the sub-zero temperatures that we've got now, they'll survive.
Let's hope, and there is some concern from the organising committee. At night they are spending many hours putting the snow back on the track, trying to make sure the corners are not going to be as icy as yesterday, and the wind just coming in to make it even more exciting.
Well, it's Svetlana Shona who is going to be the first to test the conditions. She'll, I think, almost certainly come into the range first, or alongside Uschi Diesel, who starts number 2. A very strong starting block of athletes going off. Shona from Russia, who's been struggling a little this season, hasn't broken into the top 15 yet this year.
Doesn't set out very aggressively, and we did see that with a number of the athletes yesterday. There's a flat 400 metres here before the long climb up to the next camera shot, and you really want to be attacking it aggressively, like Uschi will.
So Uschi Diesel, number 2, got her first win in Les back in 1991. Yes, 1991. She's already won 2 this year. She is absolutely flying. She's got the yellow bib. Is this going to be the season that she wraps up the overall World Cup title? She's been second on 3 occasions. And certainly I don't think there'll be anyone on the tour who complains if she walks away with a crystal globe at the end of the year.
And what focus at 33-year-old now, Uschi, to be coming into this new season, unbelievably focused, and a huge part of Uschi's success is her positive attitude.
Kari Wilhelm, the second German, 4 seasons on the tour, already wrapped up 6 victories. Now, she started playing around with her ski technique last year, and really ever since then she's struggled to produce the results that she was producing before that.
Quite strange often when you're trying to change something you've built in since a young athlete. Oh, there's Emma Fowler. Yes, when you try to make changes, it can backfire on you.
So Emma Fowler, someone you know very well, Mike, tough competitor. Looked very promising in the early stage of her career, but has struggled to make that step up to the next level.
She has. I think Emma feels the pressure a little bit. She knows that she can qualify in this season for the Olympics next year, the next season, and that can tense you up. That can make you really feel uneasy. But she is a very tough athlete and good in triathlons. Very good runner as well.
Now, Olga Pilieva comes from the same town as Svetlana Shona who's already underway from Krasnoyarsk in, I think it's known as the geographical center of Russia, right on the Yenisei River. and it's an area that gets good summers and good winters. Minus 30 in the winter, plus 30 in the summer. That's just what you want.
And that's why they're very tough, these Russian girls. The elements are thrown at them. Pilieva, well, she was 14 seconds last week off the #1 position. She'll be trying to put that right today.
Irina Sesnikova of the Czech Republic. Now, both Sesnikova and Holubachova have done exceptionally well so far this year, both in the top 20 of the World Cup rankings. And, well, we'd like to see them in the top 10. That really would be a sign that they've arrived and they're competitive.
But as we watch Sesnikova go out, great to see her come fourth in Holmenkollen in the individual, and it was 10 years since she'd previously made her 4th position.
Avery Sau, drawn bib number 7, 20-year-old in her 2nd season now, and I think she's going to struggle starting amongst the greats of women's biathlon. It can sometimes be a bit intimidating, and it's going to be a good test when we see her come into the range, whether she's been shaken up by the occasion or whether she would have been better starting in Group 2 or 3.
Good point, but I think the future is very bright for Eveli from Estonia.
Well, from Murmansk this time, the very north of Russia, Anna Bagali. 10th in the World Cup rankings. In fact, 4 Russians in the top 5 rankings of the world table at the moment. That's an indication of just how strong they are. And they won the first relay of the season in Biatlon. So things going well for the Russian women. And to be honest, the Russian men look pretty good. Not quite at the same level, but they look better than they have done in previous years. Here's someone else who's also going well this year, Mike.
Brilliant performance last week, and I hope that this lady can keep it together. And Karine Olofsson. If she doesn't let the home pressure get to her, she can improve in her 6th place last week. Really the perfect shoot last week. If she can do the same again, podium position potential.
Well, I wonder whether Olofsson has been inspired by the good Swedish performances yesterday in the men's. Bergman coming in 6th, Bjorn Ferry coming in 16th. Now, from Latvia, one of 27 nations competing in this World Cup. Their 6th individual race of the season. Uschi Diesel's won 2. Martina Glagau took the individual in Holmenkollen. Zaitseva's won. And then, of course, the last race, the pursuit, which you covered, Mike, in Oslo. Sandrine Bailly coming through to win for France. That was a great race by Bailly.
It certainly was, and that's Bailly's self-belief. It comes through. Great start for Evie Tofalvi. This is her best start ever to the season. More experience now. Her strength is her shooting, and her skiing's improving. Yeah, her shooting has looked superb, and that's why she does so well, or does so much better, in the individual races, the longer races, where the shooting penalty is that much more severe. 1.5% added effectively for every miss in this sprint event. In the longer individual race, it's well, it's just about, it's over 2% for the women, so it's absolutely vital to clear the targets. Michela Ponza, 25-year-old from Italy, 6th and 10th in the 2 sprint events so far this year. It's a format that suits her skills. She's once again very good on the skis, and if Ponza can clear 9 out of 10, I think we could well see another top 10 result. And Ponza, as we pick up on Wilhelm, Ponza will be the leading force for Italy next year at the Olympics. Michela definitely wants to place herself on the podium on her home ground. If I remember right, Kati Wilhelm took the gold just 3 years ago in Salt Lake City in this race. Good shot of the stadium and the Storsjön, the Great Lake in the background, which is one of the tourist attractions for this part of the world in the summer. Plenty of activity out on the lake. And usually frozen solid at this time of year, Mike, but 1 or 2 patches of water appearing, so I guess the fishermen are just holding off before they head out, trying to catch the fish, the Christmas whatever they catch in there. But it is an indication how much warmer these seasons are getting. Olga Pilieva
Ranked number 2 in the world, needs to keep these good results coming if she's going to keep the pressure on the likes of Glargout and Diesel, 2 of the Germans right up the top of the order. Here comes Uschi Diesel. Well, she is trying really hard, Mike. Interesting to see how much longer her arm movement is than most. Most people have gone to the short stabbing motion with the arm. Uschi Diesel, as they did in the old days, all the way through. And coaches always telling you to push as far back as you can. Diesel stuck with it. And everything about her style is old school.
It is strange, but she's a total individual, and you can spot her a mile away the way she skis. But let's hope she can put it together. Caught Sharon Usova as she gets down onto the mat. That's very fast skiing from Uschi.
But to be fair, Sharon Usova not skiing quite as well as we would have expected. Now, first shot, all important for Uschi Diesel.
Beside her, Sharon Usova has certainly missed one.
Well, that was a solid miss. You heard that, the first and fifth, as always, proving the difficult ones. The wind didn't look to have affected that, the sighting at all, Mike. The little dot in the centre of the target, you can see it moving around. That's indicating where the round will go if they've got the target absolutely nailed on the 10. If the shot was going to go in the 10 with no wind, the little yellow dot that you'll see appear on the left of the target indicating, well, I hope we will, as Wilhelm settles for her first shoot. Chance for her to catch her teammate Uschi Diesel, still on the penalty loop. Pretty good. Seemed to rush that last one a little, but she's got it down. 5 out of 5 for Wilhelm. This is a much better start. Are we going to see the Olympic sprint champion show what she's really capable of? 8:15 on the clock. She's going to take the lead by some margin. Diesel skiing a little quicker, in fact, a lot quicker than Kathi Wilhelm, but it's still Wilhelm who has the lead by 6 seconds.
Early indication how fast Uschi Diesel is attacking today. She wants another podium finish. And all depending on her stand, she may well do it if she hits 5.
Not a bad ski by Olga Pilieva either. She's still got 30 seconds plus to get inside that time of Kathi Wilhelm. It's just about to say she can't afford a miss.
The disappointment when you miss one, you know you have to turn left, go round that 150 meters. It tenses you up even when you're shooting. Very difficult not to think about this punishment as she, Pilieva, will turn left.
Well, have a look at the clock as she goes on. 8, 13, 14, 15, 8:16. Pilieva goes on to the penalty loop, and we'll get a good indication of just how long it takes. She'll be skiing a little quicker than average, but it won't vary by more than a second.
Now there's Emma Fowler in the foreground as we pick up on Sesnikova.
Now, while we watch Sesnikova, Mike, a chance to discuss the British men yesterday, all missing 2 in the prone, and at this level, no one can afford to do that. And when you don't ski as quick as the best, you can afford it even less.
Well, that's right, and the wind wasn't that difficult yesterday in the men's race, and the gusting here for Sesnikova has put her off. She shot the perfect 10 out of 10 last week. But no, when you miss 2 targets in the lying down, your race is all but over for top positions.
Anna Begali, 8:41, the best Russian time so far. She's almost a minute inside that at the moment. And if Begali, Pilieva, 8:41 she's recorded, Mike, and she was on the penalty loop at 8:17, so that's 24 seconds it's taken her to clear that penalty loop.
That's quite a substantial amount of skiing, extra punishment time, but Bogali's missed one. But the local girl, Olofsson, just settling now. She's adjusting the sight, a little bit of problem pushing the bolt forward. Olofsson has been shooting recently so well.
She's not sure She went for 3 clicks, changed her mind, has changed it 2, and it hasn't made any difference. Now she's going back again. 1, 2, 3. My guess is she can't remember where she started from on the sighting, but finally one has gone down and the wind has settled. I think the wind affecting those first 2. The third one, I think, probably a mistake on her part, but the last 2 go down. So, well, this is the race you wanted to do really well in, and it's all gone pear-shaped in the first 10 minutes of her effort. Now,
massive disappointment for Olofsson.
Albina Ichitova, top 5 of the World Cup standings at the moment. She was second in the overall in 2003 to one Martina Glagau, and well, she's hoping she can repeat that. And so far this season, the economist from Russia has started pretty well.
Well, when you compare the two, it's quite incredible. Ichitova and Glagau, they're similar build. Ichitova is only 55 kilograms and Glagau is only 53 kilograms, so they're very similar in body size and body shape, and both very good. Quite a fast time from Ponza. Coming into the range.
Still a little slower than we saw from Anna Begali, who settled on the mat at 7:40. So she's 12-13 seconds down off the quickest skiers. But Wilhelm, who has gone clear, has made a tough target. She's gone anti-clockwise.
She has, the opposite to Olofsson's adjustments on the sight. So the wind is in fact coming from the right. So in my opinion, she's made the right adjustment. But that is gusting. That wind is quite difficult. It's a very steep climb up to this high point when you're at your most fatigued.
Well, a mistake for Michaela Ponza, and it should be good enough to keep her in the top 10. She's had some very good results in the sprint events so far this season, and with each good result, her confidence is getting higher and higher, and that's half the battle in this game. If you come in knowing you're going to miss or thinking you're going to miss, you invariably do. But if you come in with confidence and relaxed, you have a far better chance of clearing the targets.
In my opinion, the mind, as you say, is everything in biathlon. The belief, the self-belief. Of course, you're in a stressful situation because you're totally out of breath and gasping for air, but it's how you deal with that. If you're relaxed and confident, it helps.
Andrea Henkel looks as though she's gone clear. She has 8:11. She's going to join Kati Wilhelm in the top 2, I think. Still got another 6 seconds to get inside Wilhelm's time. She's not going to manage that quite, but it's a very, very good start from Andrea Henkel of Germany, and it's going to be Germany 1, 2 and 3 as she leaves the stadium for the first time. A very promising start from them, and Mike, it's been one of the features. This time last year, the Germans were at a loss as to what was going wrong. This season, with Fischer winning and all the German girls doing well, it's a different story. It's great, isn't it? A whole summer of training, a new approach, and as you say, doing very well so far. A pretty sparse crowd. I think the athletes will be looking forward to their racing down in the south of Germany, where they go after the Christmas break. First it's Oberhof, where the World Championships were last year, and then we go to Ruhpolding and then to Antolz. The same old routine with thousands upon thousands turning up to watch those events. The best stadium of them all for you? Oberhof. Ruhpolding has a better atmosphere. The crowds generally are further around the track. It's difficult to say. The Ruhpolding and the Oberhof, it's just magical. You can hear the buzz all around, and Uschi will be having that in her mind when she goes down there after Christmas. Oh, she's one person that the crowd will be supporting in big numbers. Bad first miss for Diesel. What does the body language say, Mike? Well, I was just going to say it's a very tense position. This is her style. If you look at the left elbow, she's straining, trying to. It's not really resting on her hip bone, so there's tension in the left arm, and that doesn't help. But this is her style, and for me, it's quite crunched over, quite stressed. Well, I think 3 out of 5 could still see her in the top 15 today, but Diesel is going to struggle to make it win number 3, especially if Kati Wilhelm can go clear. Notice the way she supports the rifle with that left fist.
Uniquely for Kati, she has the support from her left hand very close to the trigger.
Well, that position looked better, and the result is considerably better. 0-0 for Kati Wilhelm, and the Olympic sprint champion, I think, heading towards a definite top 3 or 4. Question is she going to hold on to first place? She'll have to wait for some of the Russians to come in, and Liv Greta Poiré of Norway, who hasn't shown her best form yet, but she's starting number 45 and has yet to come through the first shoot. So I think Poiré probably the biggest threat to Wilhelm, despite the fact that she's not on her best form.
Indeed, Uschi Diesel was skiing at 11 seconds per lap faster than Wilhelm. And I think only Poiré will be able to match Wilhelm's performance today in terms of ski speed and shooting.
I think Olga Pilieva isn't far off. Skiing faster than Wilhelm without a doubt, but can't afford a mistake here.
The wind's pretty rough now, 12 meters per hour. It's fluctuating from 7 to 12.
Well, we have a race on our hands. Great shooting by Pilieva. She's still got 10, 11 seconds to get inside Wilhelm's time. I don't think she's going to come out in first place because she was shooting right down at the far end of the range. But knowing where Wilhelm is, I think Pilieva is going to make a race of this, and it's going to be a couple of seconds either way.
It's going to be extremely tight, and as long as it's not over 12 seconds, I think Pilieva has every chance to win this race or take the lead so far.
14, what is it?
14, oh dear.
That's going to be a tough race, but she's already gained a lot of time on Kati Wilhelm. Now, Xingyang Liu, the best of the Chinese, not the best start she's had. She's been very consistent with the rifle over the last couple of years. All the Chinese coming from Dalian, Mike, that's where they all go and train. A peninsula up in China with plenty of water around. What about the skiing conditions up there?
Well, they say it's good. I mean, they take every biathlete in China, and there's only 20 of them, go there, they base them there, they're soldiers. So I'm assuming it's quite hilly terrain there, so the summertime they can build the muscles, and the roller skiing allegedly is good. But they're so far removed from the rest of the world, they don't come over and get involved with many other teams, which I think would lift them if they did. There's Emma Fowler again in the foreground. She missed one in the prone.
Now, Anna Vigali is a good 30 seconds slower than Olga Pilieva at this stage, so even if she goes clear, it is not going to be a win for Anna Vigali. What a shame. 3 out of 5 for Vigali. Sensibly, she went down the far side as close as she could do to the barriers at the edge of the range, because that's where it's more protected. So she's thinking, but it hasn't paid off on this occasion. Alkhyatova, the next Russian, and that looks good. Very good indeed. Lovely rhythm throughout that shoot. And Alkhyatova is going to come out possibly inside Wilhelm's time, but it's going to be very, very tight between her and the German currently leading here in Östersund, just outside Mike, but a good start.
A very good start. She's skiing 16 seconds slower than Uschi on the first split, which is only 1.6 kilometers. And Martina Glago is skiing very well to that point also, so there's still a huge chance of either of those two coming through to win this race.
And Wilhelm at that stage of the race down in 7th place, 16 seconds off the lead. Impressive start.
Well, she won last week, and she has the spirit, the self-belief maybe to win this one. Zaitseva and Brankovic as well, from her equal second last week. She's inspired.
Now, Mike, you were saying you didn't think the standard of shooting had gone up that much over the years. We've had different phases. Maybe 5 years ago it was all about shooting quickly. It's slowed a little now. They've realized the importance of the shots. but in yesterday's men's race, we had 12 clear shoots. I think it was 26 further people with just one penalty, so 38 with 0 or 1. That is better than we've seen in the past. Or do you think that's just because the conditions yesterday were pretty kind?
Conditions were kind. I mean, I'm thinking even 8 years ago as Glasgow comes in Ruhpolding on a calm day on the ranges where the wind is good, I'm sure statistically it hasn't changed that much. It's changed for Martina now.
Well, I was just about to say, she is one person who's been getting better every season. The best shot on the women's tour last year, but an early mistake has put some pressure on Martina Glagau. 8 minutes, 23 seconds to get inside Wilhelm's time. She's not going to be far off. She'll be 10 to 15 seconds behind. That's once she's completed the penalty loop. So Glagau still with a chance, provided she can go clear on the second shoot. But it's Wilhelm who has set the early pace, heading now towards the final split time. Wilhelm on the right of the screen, red boots, red hat, red hair.
On fire. Did she fall? This is a tricky and very fast corner. Ah, disaster. Well, that's cost her first place. Pilieva will now be ahead of her. The 14 seconds, I'm quite sure Pilieva will bring that back.
Well, when they left the range for the second time, Pilieva was in second place, but 13.4 seconds behind. I think she's skiing a little quicker, so we can cut it down to 10. That fall on the downhill just before the flat has cost her, what, 15 minimum, maybe even 20 seconds.
I totally believe that has cost her, at this stage, first place. Pilieva will know now that she can catch her and beat her.
Yeah, but she could also go down. It's a tricky little section of the course. The soft snow on top of the man-made snow has revealed all the ice, and if you just get your line run, too much pressure on one ski, and that hits the ice, then you've got no chance for recovery. Technique, just like downhill, you've got to spread the skis a little, push the arms forward. Now, Pilieva, 1.1 behind. It's tight, Mike. It's very, very tight. That 13-second margin cut now to just 1.1 second. Gravart Ishtad. Oh, what a shame. Looked very, very smooth indeed. And nice use of the right hand, the cocking mechanism working very well for Ishtad, but one shot missed. Now, Kari Wilhelm coming into the finish. She's got to go absolutely flat out if she wants to make up for that fall. 23:37 at the moment. She should get just inside 24 minutes, which is a good time for the 7.5 kilometre sprint. Bear in mind the men 26 minutes for their 10 kilometres yesterday, and 23:50 the target that Olga Pilieva is after.
But can Pilieva take that plus 1.1 second off in 900 metres?
Well, Pilieva's going to be coming into the stadium very shortly. They started just a minute apart.
Ushi finished as well. What an effort there, missing 3 targets for Ushi and only 38 seconds behind Kati Wilhelm.
Well, let's hopefully we get back on the course, because Olga Pilieva dropping down towards the stadium now, and she's got just a matter of 30 seconds or so to get inside the current leader, Kati Wilhelm, who has a time of 23:50. Here comes Pilieva into the bottom section. One more corner to negotiate. The time looks good. 23:37, 38, 10 seconds now to cross the line for Pilieva. 1.1 seconds behind at the last split time. She's working well, stayed balanced, stayed on her feet, and it's going to be close, but it goes the way of the Russian, just inside. Wow, 0.9 of a second.
What an effort. That last 900 metres, it's tough to bring time back, but she dug so deep. Pilieva.
The Germans discussing where it all went wrong and where they fell. Diesel, Well, they seem to be fairly relaxed about it. It's really something that you've got to learn when you go round the course, Mike. It's obvious where the icy patches are going to be, and you've got to decide whether you go on the inside or the outside and avoid the ice in the middle. I think Wilhelm, trying so hard, should stop thinking at that stage.
I think that's where it went wrong, but you can safely say the fall has cost Wilhelm so far the race. Possibly, when everybody's finished, it may well have cost her the race overall. One fall, one mistake. And that's what comes from pushing just that little bit too hard. She lost the feeling in her legs for the profile of the snow.
Just looking at the faster skiers, still Uschi Diesel at the first intermediate, the quickest time. Just seeing Liv Greta Poirier hasn't gone through that stage quite. She should be there in the next minute or so. Linda Sjöholm has gone through for Norway in 11th place, who Mike has put his money on for a win today, but
I'll stick by that. Of course, it depends. We'll try and pick up on Linda Sjöholm's shooting, but
she's not there quite yet. She's approaching the range very shortly. Should be there at about the same time as Poirier goes through 1.1. Before that, though, Natalie Santa.
This is good to see. I'm so pleased so far for Santa. Confidence. She hasn't had a lot of it lately, but this could build the confidence for the rest of her season.
It could also destroy it if it all goes wrong. It's painful, Mike.
That is so painful. I feel sorry for Natalie right now. This is absolutely to be in a leading position coming in.
Not all five, please. I'm afraid that is the way it's turned out. And Natalie Santa, having been in the best position we've seen from her for a whole season, has thrown it away. 5 missed out of 5. Now, Anna Begali coming down, 24.55. She's a long way off the time set by the current leader, Olga Pilieva. And Begali left the range for the second time in 12th place. And she's got herself into 4th, but a few of those that are ahead of her after that second shoot still to come in. So I think Begali making 1 or 2 places. Certainly she hasn't made 8 places in the last 2.5K. Nice and solid from Akhiyatova. Lovely shooting. Another to go clear, and Akhiyatova's time 16.31. This is going to be another tight one, Mike, but once again she's down the far end. It's going to take her 15 seconds to cross the line. What's your opinion here?
Well, Akhiyatova, the perfect shoot, the same as Wilhelm. Depends on how yes, I think she has every chance of making this, because remember, Wilhelm took that fall. Akhiyatova's not on quite the same skiing form as Pilieva, but with now knowing she's in first place, it could bring that extra 1% performance out of her.
Well, it's going to be first or third for...
And Zaitseva as well.
Well, that's another good run.
Who won last week.
Yeah, but she's a little slower this week. She's not made up the time, and I think she's going to find herself too far behind Akhiyatova.
Akhiyatova 5.3 seconds behind Wilhelm.
Well, this bodes well for the pursuit event, Mike. We could well have 4 starting in 5 seconds at the front of the field, and that's just what we want. Liv Greta Poirier, of course, could upset that as Ponza comes in. 45 seconds down off the leaders, but it's another good run from Ponza. 9 out of 10 will do her nicely. And she could well stay in the top 10 of the World Cup rankings as a result of this performance here in Östersund. And it's so much better than we've seen from her in the past. Is it a question of the fact that she's a year older, or is it a question that she's changed the training routine and suddenly believes in herself?
I think it's just a question. Michaela Ponza is gaining more experience with each race, and with that experience comes confidence. As another German and another Russian behind her doing so well. Henkel, this is pretty good time.
Well, they all look pretty unsteady. They look like baby giraffes that are only about 3 hours old as they come around that corner. They're not enjoying the fact. Do remember that these skis just have a Petex base, no metal edge, so there's no way you can get the edge to grip the ice. It's a question of just sliding and going with it and predicting when the skis are going to go. Henkel has survived it. The time 24.44, 5th place for now, is not too bad. bad, but two Russians, Akhятova, certainly one of them, and Zaitseva, likely to get in that time, provided they can avoid any catastrophe on the last loop.
Oh, look at this time from Zubrilova. Confidence built. We mentioned confidence. She came third on Sunday and nearly fell in the corner. And she is going to lane 2, probably, where it is less windy, but it's a lot further to ski. Out to the split time.
She was 2 seconds up on Olga Pilieva, the current race leader, as Davoska comes in. One of those women who gets the occasional brilliant result with World Championship and Olympic medals. Davoska, 6th place for now. Trying to keep you informed as to what is happening with Elena Zubrilova. Oh, here she goes out of the range now. Zubrilova could possibly go ahead of Pilieva if she can just up the pace over the last 2.5 kilometres. Istad, Mike, that's a good run from her. 17.4 outside. She'll have a great crack in the pursuit event, and that's just what she needs. The Norwegians, the men are doing brilliantly. The women are starting to struggle a little, possibly because the men have a greater number to draw from.
Indeed, but Linda Scherholm is placed brilliantly after the prone shooting. Only 1 second behind Wilhelm's time at that point. And yeah, Gro-Margit Istad is building as well, building that confidence, the self-belief. Looks like a good day for Norway, and that might be good for Poiré. The best finish biathlete, Perunka. Also a good time, going to place top 10.
Just looking at the 1.6 kilometre sprints as Perunka goes through towards the stadium. And news for the Norwegians, good in the fact that Scherholm has gone well as Istad. Liv Greta Poiré, the fastest Norwegian, but she's still down in 10th place, 15 seconds off the time of the best. Sandrine Bailly, one that we need to watch out for, Mike, wearing bib number 37. She's produced the 2nd fastest time, but has missed 1 shot, but is only 5 seconds off the lead. So if Bailly can clear the standing targets as she comes in right on cue, this could be a race-winning performance.
Oh, she's going for it. She can...
Oh, what a shame. Now look at the time, 16:10. She's got 33 seconds to complete the loop and then challenge Wilhelms. Bailly has continued the ski form that she showed when she won in Holmenkollen last week. Now, can she do it? I don't think so. I think she's going to have too much to do, but certainly a top 3 or 4 is possible. She could join the Russians on the podium. Akhятova clear today, 21.58 into 3rd place, 5 seconds to make up on Pilieva, just a fraction more to make up on Wilhelm. But remember, at this stage, Wilhelm hadn't taken the fall. Or she had taken the fall, and she was only 1 second up on Pilieva. So 5-6 second gain from Akhятova, and she can go to the top of the podium.
She can, but Zaitseva is hunting them all down. In fact, what, that's 2 seconds?
Oh, that is tight. Zaitseva splits Wilhelm and Pilieva. We didn't think that was possible. They're only a second apart, and Zaitseva, of all those heading towards the finish, is in the best position now. Looks as though she could take win number 2.
With 900 metres to go, 3 athletes within 1 second.
Well, that is going to set up the most exciting pursuit of the season so far. The Russians certainly going to be there in numbers at the start. Now, Scherholm backed for great things today. Is it going to happen?
That is the end of her hope, sadly. The skiing form is coming back, but she just isn't able to hold the pressure where she can win today by hitting 5.
Well, she avoids a Natalie Santa.
What a pity.
Yeah, that is a shame. She was skiing well, but I think maybe pushing a little bit too hard. Brankovic now coming towards the finish. This is a good run from the Slovenian. She's going to put herself into the top 5, 21.56.
Oh, she had to go wide there, Patrick, to get past. That's lost a second.
It's lost her seconds, but she knows, and her coaches will be telling her, that if she can make up 3 seconds, then she is going to be on top of the podium. Akhятova now, what she managed to do over the last 600 metres. 23:49, the time she's after, set by Pilieva. She's not been able to respond. She has lost time in the closing stages. I wonder whether Akhятова has taken a fall, because she's lost so much time in the last 500 metres that it is a distinct possibility.
9 seconds, maybe. She has had a tumble. She may have fallen back on the icy corners.
Well, Akhятova has failed. Has Zaitseva managed to pull it back? 23:49. This is going to be tight. Zaitseva 1 second behind at the last split. She's going to be inside by another fraction. Well, it just gets tighter and tighter. 0.9 of a second between first and second now. 0.9 of a second between second and third. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Now, Brankovic could stir that all up. She's coming down, and the time is even better. 23:08, 40 seconds to complete the race, and the Slovenian has a chance, and she's got the support. Here we go then. Last 40 seconds of effort. One final hill. Break down to the left and round the stadium. It's got to be quick if she wants to equal Zaitseva.
She cornered well there, Patrick. Better than the Russian girls. She cut it tight.
And she's carrying good speed down into the stadium. Brankovic stays low, uses the legs, big, powerful thighs to drive herself towards the line. 8 seconds left. This is going to be tight, but I think Zaitseva's just going to survive. It's going to be first or fourth for Brankovic. Which is it? Wow, 23:49. She gets second, and she gets inside Pilieva. 0.8 of a second, 100th of a second ahead of Pilieva. Wow, great stuff. Well, that is the value of split times as we cue in on Liv Greta Poiré. Already got, just trying to see how she's going after the first shoot. Poiré wearing bib number 45. Down in 38th position with 2 misses, so it's not going to be her day. She's not going to join the party at the head of this field. Once again, it is Russia and Germany dominating, with a lone Slovenian thrown in there. Brankovic with the race of her season. Fantastic finish, and being driven all the way by the coaches, because they knew something special was on the cards.
Apple felt the pressure there, had a potential to go into first place. Snatched the second shot.
Poiré missed another shot, Mike, so that's 3 penalties in total today. How do you explain her loss of form? Is it temporary, permanent?
It is a problem. This is the 7th race of this new season, and she hasn't been able to put it together in 7. Now, that is quite a period of time, and it's certainly a form builder, but it's just maybe a lack of focus. She achieved so much last year, Poiré, and coming into this season with big expectations can turn it upside down.
Good run from Bavrel Robert to put herself into 8th position, but only 40 seconds off the lead. And she will have a very good chance, because she, like the rest of the French squad, very competent with the rifle, and I think we could see her moving up a couple of places. What has Elena Zabrilova done? You can see it all went wrong on the standing shoot. 2 misses, so an extra 300 metres, and she's struggling to finish in the top 10 now.
Good to see her form coming back. You could just see by the dynamic planting of her ski poles, the whole body movements. At last, she's got her form back to where we saw it 2 years ago. Zabrilova, well experienced. Fighting every centimetre of the way.
Well, she's not going to hit the top 5, but she will have beaten Uschi Diesel, which is always satisfying, because Diesel's such an accomplished biathlete. And 37 seconds off the lead, just in front of Diesel, ahead of Bavrel Robert. She's beaten Michaela Ponza, who's now pushed down into 10th place. And a problem for Guseva of Russia. 9 out of 10 for her. the penalty loop to complete, so she's going to be at least 45 seconds off the leaders at the start of the pursuit. But Mike, only, what is it, 1.8 seconds separating the front four in this event. Zaitseva, Brankovic, Pilieva, Wilhelm, and then Akhятova only a further 9 seconds back.
Is the party going to be spoiled by the French woman, though? What a ski time. She's put in an amazing effort out there in this final 2.5 kilometres.
Well, this is phenomenal stuff from Sandrine Bay. 2 misses, so an extra 300 metres skied, and she is still competitive. 20 seconds to get inside Zaitseva's time. I think the Russian must have thought she had this one. I think Bailey thinks otherwise. Here she comes round the final corner. She is going to take the win. She's still got 10 seconds to complete the run. This is brilliant stuff. Sandrine Bay, and I think making it 2 wins in a row. 23:45 her time. And she makes it look effortless.
Well, on Sunday when she won the pursuit race in Oslo, she said she feels good. They said, will you feel pressure going into Östersund? She said, no, I will just do my normal. I'm not thinking about winning today. I'll just do my normal biathlon. And today it was brilliant.
Well, she's on good form. I think she must have had good skis to pick up that much time in the last 2.5 kilometres. Sandrine Bay with another stunning performance. Remember, she pulled up places in the women's pursuit in Oslo, and she's done it again here after the second shoot, Mike. She was down in 5th place and had a lot of time to gain, but she's done it and has come in 3 seconds ahead of Zaitseva. So now we have just 4 seconds separating the top 5 positions. It is going to be a pursuit race not to be missed on Saturday. So there's confirmation of the standings at the moment. Still a large number of athletes to come in, but with Liv Greta Poiré not skiing or shooting well, I can't see anyone outside the top 50 starters who is going to put pressure on Sandrine Bay. Maybe it will be Christelle Gros or Simone Denkinger, who starts 84. They've got a chance, but it's got to be, they've got to shoot clear and have the best ski that we've ever seen from them. Indeed,
but I think there's a factor playing a little part here. We can see how dark it's getting. The sun is off the tracks. Now the snow is a little bit icier for start number 37. Bailly, as we see her shooting. So the tracks are becoming just that little bit faster.
Well, it wasn't the perfect shoot, but she put that out of her mind and dug very deep indeed to produce the fastest skiing time by some margin. 50 seconds spent on the loop, so 53 seconds quicker than Zaitseva, who's lying in 2nd place. That's a very promising ski. If she keeps that form going, I think she could be up amongst the leaders in the World Cup in no time at all. Sukidati. Clear on the prone, but she does tend to take her time.
She does. Her ski speed has been good. She was the 8th fastest skier in Oslo, but her shooting normally trips her up. Today she's skiing slower, and I was going to say the shooting's better. It is a lot better. She's only normally 62% hit rate in the standing, but 9 out of 10 is good overall for the girl from Sapporo.
Linda Sjöholm has just finished with 3 misses in the standing. She's gone into 13th place. So no Norwegians at the moment in the top 5. Ishtad is the best in 7th, a full 21 seconds down off the lead.
And as you say, for the pursuit on Saturday, only 54 seconds separating the first 12, so it can be all change. Any one of those 12 could win the race.
Now, Mike, we've got a situation similar to yesterday with all the seeds, all the seeded group going off early in the start order of 106. By the time we got down to 45, all the top stars had started. Most of them were heading towards the finish. Do you think the IBU need to reconsider how they set people off to, if they insist on having such big fields, do you think they should adopt the Nordic policy of putting the seeds in a group on their own at the back to keep the race alive, keep the spectators here?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but they did try this a number of years ago, and there were so many objections, because today the top 25 ranked by athletes, it can all change tomorrow. You can get the person placed 54th today actually winning the race tomorrow. So the coaches were saying, look, in biathlon we can't do this because shooting is a big factor. And to eliminate or to lower the chances of I say, the athlete coming 54th today, it would be unfair to put just 25 people in an elite group. So it can always create difficulties, and the coaches, I think, will fight it very, very hard if they're going to try and introduce something like the Nordic have. But certainly in TV terms and spectators, if you have the best last and progressing all the way up to the first, it does make possibly for a more live race in the latter stages. But there's Apple coming in the top 10, so some of the slower athletes on paper are managing to come through today.
But Apple, I mean, she's a class act. She's been up in the top 10 of the world many, many times. Not having her best season, that's the first good sign of form, with 2 misses and still getting in the top 8. I think we could see something great from her maybe in the second phase of the season. Katja Beer, another who's had highs and lows. Skis very like Martina Glogau. The legs slightly further apart, but she's strong and determined. Goes through 21.8 outside the lead. I think she will know very well indeed that if she can gain 5 seconds, it could mean the same number of places. Holubachova has gone clear, Mike. Good shoot from the Czech biathlete, and 24.01. She's heading for a top 10 as well, possibly. Not quite going to get inside Ishtat's or Arpel's time, but Elena Zabrilova of Belarus is likely to be pushed down into 10th place now, with Uschi Diesel once again outside the top 10.
Well, her good start in Östersund is slowly going back for Uschi. Great performance there from Holubachova.
No, I think you're spot on, Mike, with the snow conditions. It's the temperature has dropped a couple of degrees. All the moisture in the snow has now frozen, and some of the later starters starting to benefit. Although they've got, the light has changed. It was broad daylight when they've, not broad as it gets in this part of the world at this time of the year, when they zeroed the weapons. We're now under the floodlights again, so we've got a similar situation to the one we had in Holmenkollen.
Indeed, so many factors, but all of these coaches have been telling the athletes, be aware of the light situation as the afternoon progresses. Griceva, not on the form we saw last year, well, in January last year, where she was winning. Needs to find another 40 seconds out there in the skiing part of the biathlon.
But this is something that you have to practice, because there are going to be races in the year where you zero in the daylight and have to then compete under floodlights. Something that you need to do throughout the season, just to learn everything about your rifle, how much the sights need changing, and just to gain confidence with it.
Oh, indeed, and teams in October, September, October, will go out and test shoot, say, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock, and shoot into darkness to see the different fall of the shot, so that you are well and truly aware of what happens exactly to your rifle and to your sights as you lose daylight.
Now, Katja Beer coming in to shoot for the second time. Clear on the first shoot. The ski time, Mike,
it's very good.
Is pretty good. She's still got 44 seconds to get inside Wilhelm. She needs to be well inside that if she's going to hold off that charge that we just saw from Sandrine Bailly.
Now watch this, it will be rapid fire. Interesting.
Well, yeah, we were waiting for the rapid fire that Mike was talking about, but I think the situation getting to her, I think she knew she was in a very strong position, and perhaps skiing a little too hard, the breathing very, very heavy, but even when she let the first 2 rounds go.
Interesting, isn't it, how Katie Beer always shoots fast. Now, she was in a new situation today, potential to lead this race after the shoot, and she broke her routine. She really held things a lot longer. Normally she just does that normal rhythm, but she let me down there.
Now, the Poles, like the Slovaks and the Czechs, have had some good results already this season, with Guidon getting a good run, a podium finish in Oslo. Griswa, who 2 seasons ago was the best shot on the tour, has gone clear again today. 24.55, not competitive with the leaders, but a top 30 and World Cup points would be a very satisfactory result for Griswa.
Not quite the dynamic power, but as you say, if she's top 30, points is what matters to these athletes.
Is Jill Krause going to stay in 29th for the United States? I think she's going to be pushed down 1 place as Griswa comes across the line, 25.25, and in 29th place.
Again, and it's number 13 now in the race. That number 69 from American.
Well, there's still 1 or 2 soft patches out there, Mike, but interesting to see the contrast on how how they attack that downhill section. Those who attack it and ski positively are going very well and coming out the bottom with great momentum. Those who are looking a little tentative are really suffering, losing 4 or 5 seconds on 1 corner. And it's such a shame to throw away that amount of time on the downhill, because you know how hard it is to gain it back on the flat and the uphills.
Oh, indeed. And when you carry tension into the corners, as you say, they're looking unstable. That's tension through the muscles, and you're not getting the energy flow. You're not getting the recovery. Great result there from Tsukidate. What an effort. She pushed herself almost beyond her normal limits to try and get top 30.
There's the current leader, Sandrine Pei, all packed up, ready to go, and looking very satisfied indeed. She'll, if she does win or finish in the top 3, she'll have a press conference to attend after this event. One of the obligations of being successful on the day and picking up the prize for €9,000 for winning here today. So that's pretty handy when it comes to boosting the bank balance.
It certainly is, and last week as well, Sunday, she won that 9,000 just a few days ago. But yeah, they are obliged. They really need to attend those press conferences. That's part of the deal.
A bit of hoo-ha going on in Oslo when Raphael Poré decided better that he just headed home, was in a hurry to get back to his wife and child, and the Norwegian hosts not happy at all with that behaviour.
No, I haven't heard what disciplinary action may befall him for leaving and not attending the press conference, but I'm sure we'll see him functioning well again tomorrow, and he will be brought to task. He'll be manhandled into the press conference, I'm sure.
He's got to win first or finish in the top 3.
But when athletes are focused, I mean, there is a lot of interest afterwards, and if you're like Raphael and all these top athletes, if you're so used to it, I'm sure there is a point where you do become bored with it, giving your story and how it went each day. But it is part of the deal.
Andrea Koblar of Slovenia, formerly known as Andrea Grasic. You may remember her on the tour, and she's digging very deep indeed. This could be a top 15, 16, but it is so tightly grouped down there, up down to 20th position at the finish. Still the top 20 only separated by 1 minute and 7 seconds. The top 6 only separated by 13 seconds. So Koblar has got to pick the pace up. She's missed out on top 15, could just get inside Poré, but I think she's going to miss that one as well. Sherholm's time of 24.49 is beaten soundly, and Koblar slips into 18th place, 56.6. She starts with a chance on Saturday.
Very much so. I'm so pleased to see her back. Remember, last year she didn't ski at all. She was actually skiing while heavily pregnant, right as long as she could, and had to obviously take time out after that. What a comeback. confidence builder once again. Katja Haller. It's a good ski time. This is way above her normal performance.
Well, not that many going clear. Only 4 of the top 10 have produced the perfect score in the range, and so I think Haller will have been told, just make sure.
Showing possibly a little inexperience by coming halfway down the range. If she stayed on lane 30, it's slightly more sheltered from the wind. I just hope she can keep it together.
Katibir 51.3 off the leaders at the moment, and if she can keep that margin, she'll go into 16th place. But there is a chance that if she can gain just 5-6 seconds, then Katibir could move up into the top 12. Hopefully she has that information as well. Chinese have improved. Rachel Steer, well, another good clear shoot from the woman from Alaska, 45.7 down off the leaders. That's good enough for a top 20 as well. Rachel Steer getting more and more consistent, Mike. Just needs to maybe gain 30 seconds in the ski speed to make herself competitive with the top 10.
I agree totally. 30 seconds, it doesn't sound a lot, but by improving her ski speed by just that margin, could well be placing on the podium today.
Easiest way to gain 30 seconds.
It's a tough one. She's pushed it all her summers, the last 4 summers, she's pushed so hard to improve on her weaknesses, and she is still building. So it takes more than 3 summers to build and try and create, nibble away at these 30 seconds or 45 seconds. It doesn't happen in just 1 summer.
But I mean, the keys are, 1, work on your weaknesses. If it's downhill, work on that. And secondly, get yourself a decent pair of skis, because that can easily make 30 seconds difference over 7.5 kilometers.
Indeed, the Americans don't have the biggest backup team on the tour. The Germans, Norwegians, the Russians do. So when you then look at the wax technicians, they're all factors. Could account for 10 or 15 of those 30 seconds that Rachel Steer is looking for.
Katibir in 16th place when she went through the last split point, looking to overhaul Andrea Henkel, her teammate, at 24.40. Just going to miss out on that, and she's going to miss out on Poiret's time. Very, very... Welcome back to Östersund, coming towards the final stages of this women's sprint event, the first women's race of this 3rd World Cup meeting. And the news, if you've just joined us, is that the French are on top, with Sandrine Bay looking to secure her 2nd win in succession. There she is, looking very relaxed. She crossed the line and was recovered within 5-10 seconds of completing the 7.5 kilometer run. It looked very easy, but when you're on your best form, it feels easy.
It is a strange thing. It's so magical when you have the form. And she didn't have the form shooting. 2 targets is a big penalty to win these days in such a short race. So her ski form is brilliant. Her skis were good. You could see that on the glide, matched against some of the Russian girls. So that is a factor which can create a much better result, especially missing the 2 targets.
So Bay, by far and away the fastest skier, 2nd fastest skier on the day so far, actually goes Uschi Diesel very close with Katrine Arpel. So it's good to see that Katrine Arpel has come back to some sort of form. She's only 20 seconds or so slower than Bay once we've taken the penalties into account. Uschi Diesel, 3 misses today, 43 seconds behind, almost exactly the same time as Katrine Arpel as far as the skiing goes, just a second or so inside.
Well, Christelle Gros, she's not letting us down. We knew that she would be threatening from a late start. Not quite the ski speed that she would hope for.
Top 7 possible if she can hit all 5. It's about belief now.
She thought too much. She held too much.
The first three were effortless, Mike, and it's such a shame. An opportunity lost for Christelle Gros. The French coaches know it. She's going to come out. She's going to have a time around 17:35, 17:40, and I think that's going to see her outside the top 15. It all changes so quickly. A clear shoot, and she was a top 5, top 6.
Oh, without a doubt. But good to see Christelle coming back into a much better shape.
Now, explain to me why the Swedish have had problems with biathlon. They've had the great Magdalena Forsberg, but despite the good results from Bjorn Ferry yesterday, they haven't really matched their cross-country performances or any of their other sports when it comes to biathlon.
No, it is strange, and when Forsberg was at her best for 6 years leading the women's biathlon, even then there wasn't a great investment of money, and I think that's the bottom line, money. They weren't investing in the next generation of biathletes. But Christina is doing so well there today at this point. But I think that's what it's about. There are many clubs in Sweden, but it's about keeping a race calendar going, club races going all the time, so you're developing interest in young people to keep this thing alive throughout.
And also the fact that so many of the Swedish women, they go to the specialist ski schools, the ski gymnasiums as they call them, and they actually retire before they reach the top level. They certainly retire before they reach their optimal level, but they head off and do other things, whereas the men tend to stick with it. And I guess one of the other problems with Sweden is that their alpine skiers are so good in the women's department that the youngsters really want to be alpine skiers and emulate the likes of Anja Persson and others who've dominated, Pernilla Wiberg, who dominated for so long. So there is competition there between sports.
And there is, and I think your main factor, as you mentioned there, was they go on to do other things. They're given a great education, great sport training as part of that education, a lot of money put in from the government. But because there is lack of sponsorship in the sport itself, that is why they turn to they have to look to their future, and that's why they move into other careers.
Well, it's suddenly all gone very quiet here in Östersund as we wait for some of the later starters to come in. 106 starters in all, so we've still got 30 odd to finish here.
Well, news from a Chinese athlete. After the first shoot, she's only 6 seconds. That's Dong, 6 seconds behind Katie Wilhelm's early pace. Now, that could well threaten the lead from start number 98.
Well, let's hope that she goes clear on the standing. We'll monitor her progress. She's wearing bib number 98, as Mike said, and should be in for her second shoot fairly soon.
Losing time out in the track. She's gone through 4.1. So this is the earlier starters.
Now, how's the ski time? 3 misses, so take a minute and 15 seconds off that time, and that would give you 23 minutes at this stage. That would have been a race-winning run, so the Chinese really do have the potential to win here, and I think we're going to see some good relay results from them. Liu and Hu and Dong, they're all at a senior level now. They're now all world-class, whereas in the past it's only been one of the squad maximum who's managed to get into the World Cup points.
Indeed, and it's that belief. As soon as one of the Chinese have started doing it, it's given belief to the whole system, and there's Dong in the range now.
And she's beaten Liv Greta Poiré for the first time in her career. 17th place, 3 misses. That is exceptional. Oh, Dong has gone and missed the first target. What a shame.
Oh, and the fourth. And the last. What a pity. That is inexperience in a situation where she could win and hasn't been there before in that situation.
Well, we've seen it a lot today, Mike. Some of the German girls in positions where they could produce good results. Of course, Natalie Santa of Italy, who came in with her best run of the season, missed all 5 in the standing. And Linda Sjöholm also, who was going exceptionally well, as you promised, up to that stage, but then missed 3.
Isn't it? And again, we've seen it from Dong. You're in a winning position, but if you haven't been there before, the thoughts jump into your mind. Oh, I have to hit these targets. And that's what puts the whole feeling, the balance wrong. You have to be so relaxed, in a zone almost, where nothing can penetrate your thoughts.
Fremova of Ukraine outside the top 30, 46th position at the moment. As we go back to Sylvie Bécard of France now, can she do anything? Comes from Annecy, beautiful part of France. Now, talking about France, Mike, what do you make of that new bridge that Norman Foster has just designed?
Well, I've just saw a photo in the newspaper the other day, and what a construction. But I believe it's one of the highest buildings around.
I think you might get the old vertigo when you go across it. At 270 metres above the ground level when you're in your car. It's quite a staggering achievement.
Remember the name of the bridge?
No.
The Sky Bridge.
Now, Simone Denkinger, another 3 misses for her, so her misery goes on. I think what she really needs is for the coaches, the likes of Uwe Mussigang, to show some confidence and give her an early start, put her up with the leaders, because she rises to the occasion. By being put in the last group, she knows that she's not in favour, and I think that's where it's all starting to go wrong.
It's a valid point indeed. The coach is not putting faith in you as an athlete. It begins to shake maybe your own belief in yourself, but I think we can safely say Denkinger will be back on good form before the end of the season. Well, she's got to hurry up and get some good results, because selection for the German team for the latter part of the season is very, very tough, and that brings Peter Sendel to mind as Sandrine Bailly does a post-race interview. I don't think it's too early. I can't see anyone out there who's going to challenge her time at the moment. Dong of China, who was the best of the later starters, has gone and missed 3 on her second shoot, so her challenge evaporating in the space of 30 seconds. Olga Zaitseva skied exceptionally well to come through in the last stages. Took 5 seconds out of her teammate Olga Pilieva on that last 2.5-kilometre loop. That put her in the lead. She must have thought at one stage that she had it in the bag, especially when she saw Sandrine Bailly miss one in the prone and then miss one again in the standing. But never write Bailly off. Exceptionally quick, in the form of her life at the moment. And having just won in Holmenkollen, full of confidence, turns up the power and comes in a time 23:45. Good enough to lead and we think win this event. So there's confirmation of the standings as the light fades here in Ostersund. Sandrine Bailly heading the way, 23:45, 3 seconds up on Olga Zaitseva. Sorry, we're flicking through these a little quick. I'll just go down the order. Brankovic, Pilieva, Wilhelm making up the top 5. Achatva, Istad and Arpol. And then Holobačová of the Czech Republic in 9th, and Elena Zabrilova, the great Belarus biathlete, in 10th position. Good to see her back to some sort of form, and I think we'll see her winning a race before the end of the season. What's standing out here for me, Patrick, 20 athletes, the top 20 today, only 58 seconds separating them. And that will make one exciting race on Saturday in the pursuit. But especially up the front of the leaderboard, the top 6 separated by 13 seconds. The top 5 only separated by 5 seconds. They pretty much go off together, and that's going to be interesting. Who's going to pull through? Are you going to make a prediction for tomorrow? Do you think the top 5 are going to out-compete each other and put each other off, and then someone maybe like Arpol or even Zabrilova or Diesel, who starts 11th, could come through? Oh, I do believe that there will be such a charge to get into the range, pushing so hard, 5 people within 5 seconds. But that does speak all the way down the field, but slightly more pressure for the top 5. They know they can win. I mean, last week we did see Zabrilova coming up from 15th to 3rd. I think on Saturday we could even get someone in 25 to 30 spot coming up to win the pursuit. Well, Sandrine Bailly will make moves up the World Cup rankings if she does eventually win this, which we think she will. I think she's going to move up to 182 points. She's not going to take the lead away from Uschi Diesel, who has finished outside the top 10, but will still have done enough, I think, to stay ahead of Olga Pilieva, who was 37 points behind at the start of the day. Had Pilieva won this, then she would have been very, very close indeed. But Pilieva at the moment is down in 4th place, which is worth, what, 39 points. Avril Robert, as usual, shooting the perfect score, 12th place. She has a big chance for Saturday's 4 shoots, 2 pro and 2 stand.
There's an unusual score sheet, missing 2 on the prone for Faltsova, and it's been one of those days. The prone shooting, if anything, slightly harder in that the changing wind has been throwing them off, but the wind hasn't been strong enough to throw them off the balance in the standing. Once it gets to that level, the standing becomes virtually impossible.
Much harder than the prone on a very windy day, without a doubt. Respectable, gives Faltsova a start on Saturday. Only 2:24 behind. It's not bad biathlon.
The top 60 all qualifying for Saturday's pursuit event. Unfortunately, once again, the British athletes have missed out. Emma Fowler down in 81st position at the moment with 3 misses, 1 on the prone, 2 on the standing, and Adele Turner 87th place. Just 2 misses, shooting not too bad, went clear on the prone, but 5:24 off the leading time at the moment.
It's a good comeback for Adele Turner, having broken her rifle in Oslo last week. Confidence, certainly in the prone, is pretty good.
Now, this could be the best Polish, I was going to say the best Polish performance of the day, but Guidon has gone through in 40th, and Poniquia, despite the fact that she's gone clear, has still got some way to go. She's going to be around 26:20, 26:30. Negotiates the toughest turn on the course without too much of a problem, and has just got 100 meters to go.
She's not going to improve on her best ever World Cup performance of 48th, and will she even make the top 60? It's going to be tight.
Very tight indeed, needs 26:20. She's going to beat 26:20, so she'll go ahead of Sandra Keith of Canada and into 57th place, but still we have 11 finishers out there who could improve on that time, so it's going to be close, and Dong is certainly one of those. Despite the fact that she's missed 3, it's still a respectable time. The skiing, very good indeed, Mike. If we say 1:15 for the 3 penalties, and we take that off Dong's time, where does that put her in respect to the current leader, Sandrine Bailly? It would have been a time of, let's say, 24 minutes, which is pretty handy. Puts her in the top 6 or 7 as far as the results go. So she's got the potential to win.
Definitely, the Chinese girls now have a ski speed that can win on any given day. But the problem is the targets, you have to hit them. Good to see Sylvie Beccar. Hasn't been in form the first 6 races. She's coming back into form on this, the 7th race of her new season. Two years ago, since Sylvie was at her best, and suffered an injury in her lower leg, which put last season off. I think she'll be happy for tomorrow.
Yeah, she was 3rd in the World Cup in 2003, and then got what they call compartment syndrome, which is where you get an increased pressure in the muscle groups in the lower leg, and very, very painful indeed. Requires an operation to relieve the pressure, and sadly she hasn't got that form back that she had before then, but maybe next year. She's still got time, only 29, so got another couple of seasons before she needs to think about retiring.
Absolutely, yeah, just coming into her best. Great to see Vesnarova winning points. I think she'll probably hold on to them.
Now, I must say it's always a little flat when the crowd don't get involved in the shooting, Mike, and that's for me why I prefer Ruhpolding as the #1 stadium, because the crowd are so close to the targets, and everyone gets involved in every shot. And although some of the athletes struggle to cope with the response of the crowd, it just creates this electric atmosphere, which we don't see in Biatlon, we don't see in Östersund. Oslo, at the end of the year, always has it because it's just sensational. But for me, the stadium needs to be designed so the crowd are as close to the shooting as possible.
It's a very valid point. And as you say, the atmosphere when 20 to 25,000 people are all shouting, cheering every hit, or not cheering for every miss.
How much do you hear of that as an athlete?
You don't know when you're shooting. I wouldn't be aware of it at all. But you do hear it when you're skiing out on the track. You're aware that there's something going on, that there is loud noise, but it doesn't penetrate the mind whatsoever.
That's your mind, but it may do others.
Oh, it does. It's a very difficult aspect to get rid of, to not let that noise interfere with your concentration.
Gudicek, 2:17 off the leaders, 52nd position, so still inside the crucial cut-off of the top 60, and I think she's going to survive that. She's certainly going to decide that, because at 102 there are only 4 more out there on the course, so good run from Gudicek. She gets a start in the pursuit. She'll be a long way back from the best, but for many, just making that top 60 is their goal for the day, and she's achieved that, and congratulations to her. Also, congratulations to Sandrine Bailly of France, who has now been confirmed as the day's winner. Well, our final look at the standings, although not confirmed yet, there will be no changes to the top 3. Bailly, Zaitseva, Brankovic. What a brilliant sprint finish from Sandrine Bailly. We thought that Zaitseva was going to hold on to that. Pilieva started very early on and put in a good run to come in just 0.9 of a second ahead of Kati Wilhelm. Both of those two stay in the top 5. Achatova in 6th. Istad of Norway down in 7th position, but all beaten on the day by this woman, Sandrine Bailly. Totally focused, but at the same time, beautifully relaxed. Four out of 5 in the prone, 4 out of 5 in the standing. But on the day, 25 seconds quicker than anyone else over the 7,500 meters skied. So Sandrine Bailly wrapping up her 2nd win of the season and closing in on the World Cup leader Uschi Diesel, who is still going to be in yellow by our calculations on the pursuit event on Saturday. But Diesel, Mike, some way back, 43 seconds to make up on the leaders, and she's got 10 skiers in front of her. She'll enjoy that challenge.
Oh, she will, and the speed that Uschi Diesel skied today, although not as fast as Sandrine Bailly, but we can guarantee Uschi is going to catch many of these athletes up out of the track, probably move from 11th up to 7th, 8th possibly, even in the first 2.5 Ks.
Well, it's the first sprint event of the season that someone with 2 penalties has won the event. But in the sprint, it is now just about the only event that affords you an 80% hit rate and gives you still a chance of winning. And in the men's event, I think certainly Berger and Bjorndalen are quick enough to miss 2, but not in the individual or the pursuits. So the French team delighted with the day's work. Their 2nd runner, with Bailly winning here, their 2nd placed finish on the day, looking for the French flag on the... It's Bavril Robert has come in 12th position. Some way off. It would be nice to see the French with 4 in the top 20 and then putting pressure onto Russia, Germany and Norway when it came to the relay events. They have such strength on paper but seldom seem to put it together in those team events.
That is true. Good to see the American flag up there in 15th and 2 Slovenians in the top 20.
Livgreta Poré of Norway just in the top 20. Losing ground to the leaders. I can see her crown having slipped away before Christmas.
Indeed, hard to come back now after 7 races. It'll be 9 before Christmas. It looks like her World Cup threat overall is over. The World Cup challenge.
Well, that's a bold statement at this stage of the season. Remember that the worst 3 results of the year are taken off your score, so that still gives her a bit of a chance. But she's going to have to come back from Christmas and start winning straight away and finish in the top 3 right the way throughout the season if she wants to hold on to the World Cup crown. But she may have decided, well, it's not happening for me this year. I'll just focus on the World Championships.
Quite possibly there'll be a readjustment of the aims and the hopes for the season, probably over Christmas, and she has her husband to talk to, Rafael, to work it out.
Disappointing run from Svetlana Ishmaradova, down in 71st position with 6 misses today. She's been one of the top performers so far this year. Ishmaradova in 3rd place in the World Cup standings before today. I think she is going to lose some ground. She'll certainly be overtaken by Olga Zaitseva, who's come in 2nd place and picked up 46 points, so goes to 187 ahead of Ishmaradova. And Albina Akhiyatova has also had a good run. She's down in 6th. She'll also go ahead of Ishmaradova. Well, that wraps it up, but really the story of the day, another brilliant performance by Sandrine Bailly, making it 2 wins in succession. So that just about wraps up our coverage from Östersund. I hope you stuck with us. It does tend to drag on a bit when the best go off in the first 20, but outstanding performances by the French, the Russians, and don't forget Tadija Brankovic of Slovenia on the podium today, finishing in 3rd place with just 1 penalty, 4.1 off the quickest time. So that is the margin. She will start behind Bailly in Saturday.